Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. On today's video, I am going to be revealing what you guys have selected on the last 3 videos that I have presented, which had to do with a comparison between solid state gear and tube gear. Before I get started, guys, do not forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on your notifications so you know each time a new video pops up. Let me first address the elephant in the room. I've seen some of the comments where some of you guys are critical of us trying to assess gear through YouTube because the narrative is, how can you guys find differences through a compressed platform like YouTube? You can't hear a difference. You can't possibly be making a decision here. This is ridiculous. This is that. Well, I'm going to answer those critics right now. COVID is out. Many of us can't travel. Where are you going to find this level of gear? Do you really think that in the United States we have dealers everywhere displaying Griffin Mephisto solos? No, I can probably count with one hand how many dealers display Griffin Mephisto monos. I can also count with one hand how many dealers in the United States display VAC 450 IQ monos. The chances that you're going to be able to hear this level of amplification in the same room are pretty much slim to none. I truly believe that you can still hear at least an approximate representation of what each system sounds like. Now, it's never going to be like being in the room. Agreed 100%. It's never going to. I get that, yes. But you get a very good feeling of what's going on, the perception of what sounds like what. But if you're that person that simply can't hear a difference on every single video that I post and I share with you guys, maybe it's time to look for a different hobby. And I'm just keeping it real, keeping it 100% like here. I'm not trying to, insult anyone. I'm just being honest here, okay? I also wanted to thank those of you who took the time to dissect each video, to really, really pay attention to what's happening, and also gave me great feedback. Also took the time to enjoy what I'm doing here. Guys, you are the reason why I'm doing this. Because of you guys who really want to hear this level of performance, even if it means through YouTube. Thank you again for supporting me. Thank you again for standing behind me and letting me feel that what I'm doing is well accepted and that you guys are really enjoying the shootouts that I do here that nobody else is doing. With that out of the way, the intent of this exercise, guys, was for you guys to understand what kind of sound you prefer. Is it solid state? Is it tubes? And I purposely hid the gear behind because I don't want your eyes to do the listening. I want your ears to do the listening. I want you guys to be completely blocked from the optics, okay? That was a very key element of this exercise. I wanted you all to sit down, just relax, listen to the music, and then take notes and draw your own conclusions. Some of you guys are hardcore tube lovers or solid state lovers. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I can present 3 videos, which by the way, I was going to do 5, but I know you guys have a short attention span and you would have been complaining. Okay, so I did 3 videos so that 2 out of 3 would give you the indication of what you were leaning towards. That's going to help you to really put it all into perspective and analyze yourself. Are you really a tube lover? Or are you really a solid state lover? You have to really now dig deep and figure out who you really are as an audiophile. What is your preference, right? So by me doing this, now you can go back to the drawing board, and before you go out spending money with tubes or solid state, you can circle back to these 3 videos and realize that, you know what? Maybe there is a tube amplifier that I might enjoy more than my current solid state amplification, or vice versa, right? That's awesome. This is exactly what I want. I want to plant a seed so that you guys can hit the brakes and realize that what you didn't consider in the past, years ago, way back when, could actually be different now, and your preference might have changed and you might not even know it. So keep that in the back of your mind, okay? All right, so let me show you guys right now on the screen the 3 polls that I presented that I have shared with you guys. You are going to see video number 1 as far as what most people chose, which seems to be presentation number 1. Video number 2, it looks like it's presentation number 1 as well. And then video number 3, which seems to be presentation number 2. Okay? So let me reveal what you guys have selected. Presentation 1 on video number 1 was Griffin Mephisto with the Solution 725. So if you selected presentation number 1, you have selected solid state gear over tube gear. That's right. Moving on to video number 2. Presentation number 1 on video number 2 was, once again, solid state gear. You have selected solid state gear. And lastly, the final video, video number 3, presentation number 1 was tube gear. So the majority of you selected on video number 3, presentation number 2, which means overall, all of my audience had a strong preference for solid state amplification over tube amplification. What does that say to you guys? I can look at it different ways. I can look at it as, if you're a tube lover and you select it on 2 videos out of 3 solid state gear, you can think about it like this. Well, maybe with my current budget, which is more affordable gear, I prefer tube amplification. But I can see now, as you move up the ladder to this level of solid state amplification, maybe at the ultra high end level, you would prefer solid state over tube gear, because solid state just does a lot more at this level than perhaps at the level where you play at. So that's one way of thinking about it. Another way of thinking about it is, I just feel that maybe solid state has come a long way, and because I've been using tubes for the longest, I haven't really bothered to open that door again and begin to explore. There are many solid state amplifiers today that sound very much like tubes, but do not need the maintenance part of it. Here's my opinion at a high level of what I heard in the room. With the VAC system, guys, there was a lot of air around the instruments. There was a beauty to the sound that was embellished, that had this feeling of musicality, of course, that's natural from the tubes. It had beautiful vocals. It had a very spacious presentation. But it didn't really highlight the leading edges of the instrument. It didn't allow me to hear the bite of a guitar as good as the solid state gear did. It felt like it was rounded off. Does that make sense? It lacked in that department. It also didn't have the soundstage, the size of the soundstage that the solid state gear had. It never opened up as big. It didn't have the huge wall-to-wall presentation. Although it was big, but it wasn't this. This is solid state in terms of the soundstage, and the VAC was like right here, a little more in between the speakers. Okay, so That's something that I picked up. Now, this would probably be a complete different scenario. KT150s, it might be a different story. I really do not know. But I needed to put that out there, okay, for you guys to remember as a variable. Now, when it comes to the solid state presentation, guys, the solid state presentation was simply enormous, huge, wide, deep. There was a lot happening. There was also more imaging. Like the separation of the instruments was a lot more apparent. Okay, there were more lights flashing speaker to speaker like this. There was more of this. Each speaker just did this. See what I'm saying? That was more intense, this feeling. Okay, of the separation and the imaging was just greater. It was next level. The bass, although I know some of you guys feel that there was less bass, I can tell you that inside the room that's not the case. So it might be the microphone that really can't pick up the lowest notes, but the bass was present. It's just different. It's more like concrete. The bass is just tighter. It doesn't boom. It doesn't have that extension that goes on forever. It's more like it hits, the woofer goes out, and it comes back in. You hear it, and it just completely disappears. It isn't that bass that just lingers in the room that may be a little soft sounding or loose, for lack of a better word. Does that make sense? So those are things that I want to make sure you guys understand. In terms of the vocals, I feel the solid state gear was great, but it wasn't as good as the full VAC setup. Okay, the vocals on the full VAC setup to me were just a lot more organic. They had that beautiful warmth. They had that beautiful, just that beauty around the mid-range, right? The beauty around the vocals. It just felt that the mid-range had a lot more realism to it through the VAC than the solid state. Okay. One additional thing I wanted to mention for you guys is that I do know that the presentations may not have been 100% the same volume level, but I did bring it to at least within 1 dB. Okay, maybe 1 decibel off, but that's about it. It's very, very close, guys. I would say 95% the same volume levels on both. Okay, so it wouldn't have changed the outcome, in my opinion. Okay, it still would have been the same. I don't think it would have deviated or changed your preference as to what you liked. Now that you guys know what you preferred and that your ears are doing the talking, your ears are doing the talking, not your eyes, okay? You guys hopefully can use this learning experience, these last 3 presentations, as data points for your future buying decisions. It is important that you keep an open mind, okay? I am blessed to have some of the best gear here on my floor, and I can just easily play with everything and discover what I like, okay? If you are asking me what I preferred, for me, if you really want me to tell you the truth, and I know you guys want to hear it, I would select what you guys haven't heard. I would select the Griffin Mephisto Solos with the VAC preamplifier. Let me tell you, you guys haven't heard that yet. If you hear that, you guys are in for a huge, huge surprise. Maybe I do a future video with the VAC preamplifier, which, by the way, continues to blow me away, and the Mephisto Solos Monos. It is an impressive presentation. I'll repeat, it is an impressive presentation. I plan to give you guys a couple of clips of that, but that will be on a future video. Thank you so much for your time, for your love, for your support. Continue to subscribe. Bye for now.